YouTube. We are back with a very good player, my good friend, Josh.
That's your opinion, dude.
I mean, I
If you
think the
say so.
mat speaks for itself there, buddy. I mean,
I just high rolled, it's fine.
but if you haven't checked out Josh's previous Imperial profile on our channel, I'll drop the link to that in the video description. Check it out. He piloted a modified version of that list to day 2 at Nats. And he is back today
True.
with a special deck profile for Zephagamon. I was playtesting with Nate the other night, and he was telling me that you've been cooking at locals with this. So I'm very interested to hear and see what your deck profile is like.
Yeah, Zephaga is cool because it gives me the dopamine that Imperial does because I just keep unsuspending and attacking over and over again.
Yeah,
and I found that
crazy.
throughout my Digimon career, decks that unsuspend and attack over and over again kind of do it for me. So this deck does that. It's extremely complicated, which is funny because it's a starter deck, but it's extremely complicated. Everything happens at end of turn. You have to sequence it exactly right. You're gonna miss timings, you're gonna miss triggers, and it's just a whole mess. So John Bandai kind of messed up making this a starter deck, but if you practice it enough, it's good. It's really good. I'm not gonna call it like if I was playing a regional tomorrow, I probably wouldn't bring it. But if you made me, I feel like I could probably top 64 with it.
Oh, but, yeah, totally. Because like I remember like Nate was like, no, Ben, don't do that, and like the more I played it, I'm like, yeah, definitely pilot oriented. So if you're looking to play this deck, look no further. All right, King.
Yeah. So this is,
what you got.
Of course, look at the date that this video is posted. This is pre-Ace. We can talk about the Ace as this gets through, but this is for current format, EX-08, everything is up to your point with the promo Galmons, everything in English that's out right now. That's what we got.
Yep.
So we're going through the eggs. Do not rarity judge me, okay? I'm trying my best.
Shame.
We're going with the EX7 Fluffy. Last one's in the mail, okay? Last one's in the mail. It's all right, okay? But I hop between this egg and the starter deck Gummymon. As I've talked before in my Imperial video, I just like drawing cards. And probably the biggest problem in this deck is card draw. It's just a green problem overall, is not a lot of card draw. But when you Vortex, you want to be able to keep your turn so you can continue swinging. And having that guaranteed on the stack is really, really important. And so I found that this one's better than Gummy. If you want to run Gummy, go for it. I love card draw. I won't blame you for it, but I think having the guaranteed one memory back is the best option. The other Fluffy kind of sucks because it gives you suspend, which is what the deck wants, but you have suspension effects at literally every single level of the deck, and if that's kind of like on the player, then they can't find a way to suspend because every level in the deck has a way to do it. So you should have a way to suspend something every single turn. You don't care if memory goes over because you have Vortex. So you have a way to suspend. So I'd run this Fluffy, and then if you're not going to run this Fluffy, I'd run Gummy from the Gargomon starter deck.
Fair enough.
Moving on. Rookies. We got 4 of the Searchers. This is like the generic Liberator Searcher that every Liberator deck has. Top 3, grab a Liberator and then grab a bird. Everything in this deck is a Liberator or a bird, so you get 2 on this every single time. Unless you're hitting like Green Memory Boost and Agility. You're getting 2 on this every time. It's awesome. Inheritable is plus 2,000. That's a really good inheritable. Yeah, we'll go over the inheritables on, like when we get to the 6s, but that's a really good inheritable. Next one is this one. Our friend Walter has my other my last all. I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks, but he has it. He has it for me. Okay. This is like the Evo Cup. No, sorry, the Ultimate Cup art that we usually get for the rookies. We got it in EX7 for this line, and so this guy is usually the searcher off this art when who's artist Takase. So when you play this card, people think, oh, why aren't you searching? It's this one. But this one does decrease Evo by 1. You go into a bird, which is all level 4s. So it's really, really good. You're guaranteed decrease off 1, which means you can use your trainings to get to the level 5. You never have to use it on 4 because you have this guy increase that makes it for 1. It's awesome. And his inheritable is when you kill something, all turns when you kill something, gain 1 memory, which is really, really good because you're a blocker almost all the time. This is a great card. This is a really, really good card. And next. 2 of the promo Pateros on play, suspend something, and then inheritable plus 2,000. I like to end turn on this card all the time. Put him to like -2, and then use Vortex to swing over something, whip it back, pierce, and yeah, he's kind of a combo initiator. But you also don't need him too much because again, suspension every other level. So like I know that these are kind of expensive, You can run 0. I like 2. And you can run more, you can run less. I like 2. I think it's a really good card. And I want to go up, but I also want to go down. I think 2 is really good until we get more Pateros. And then the last rookie is a flex spot, kind of. It's Muchomon from the starter deck. Inheritable Piercing, so you don't have to worry about having the Shadow Tamer. Really cool. And he does a cool combo with one of the Zephagamons, Gigantilator, and Medieval Gallantmon. So I'm going to put this guy over here. We're going to go back into him later. But he's a cool card, and I think it's a neat little piece that I had in here that comes up pretty often. Any questions there, or do you want to move to force?
We can move to the force.
Okay. We're going 3 EX-07. All the Galmons are good, like except for all the Galmons
are good.
All the Galmons are good. So it's really player preference here. There's really no way to mess up the 4s. They're all really good. This one on Evo, play a Shoto if you have 1 or less, and then all turns if you kill something, gain a memory. Very, very good. If you're gonna run one, if you had to push 1 to 4, it'd probably be this one.
Sure.
This one's really good. And then 4 of the new promo, who when you combo with this one, you basically get up the chain for free. He does when on Evo suspend something, doesn't have to be your thing, suspend something, and then for everything that's suspended that does not count himself, Evo to a 5 for reduced cost per thing suspended. So usually it's 1 thing, so you're Evoing to the 2 for 2 cost, but then you Evo to here for 1. So you're spending that 3, getting all the way up to 5, and then because you want to pass turn anyways, your Evo to the 6 actually goes into your game plan. And if you do it for even cheaper, have 2 or 3 things suspended, it's even better. There's like no way this card can like mess up unless you're going into something where they have an empty field. But if that's the case, you're not promoting anyways, and it doesn't make sense for you to even go into this guy. But he's ridiculous. Plus 2,000 inheritable. It's good. Again, you could play as a 4 if you wanted to. They're all so good. It's really hard to find a balance. Next is 2 promo Galmons. This is on Digivolve, suspend something, and then if you have Shoto, suspend something, and he gets plus 2,000 to the end of the turn, until the end of your opponent's turn. And then if you have Shoto, it gains piercing. That part doesn't usually matter because if you have Shoto, it means you have piercing anyways because of the but then plus 2,000 inheritable. What's really cool is if you combine him with one of the plus 2,000 DP inheritables, he's 9,000, which can run over pretty much every level 5. And he's suspending the thing, so you can clear out almost everything just going into him, which is nice. Or you can use it just for the suspend plus 2,000. It's your way up the chain. Vortex over. Again, just kind of initiates your plays. Cool card.
For sure.
Head back. Last of the 4s is 2 of the Vortex ones. This is probably the weakest of the bunch, but his security effect is kind of neat. If it comes up, doesn't need to come up, there's only playing 2. But you don't really want to Evo in the back, but the situations where you kind of have to, and it feels better to go into here where you're not wasting an effect rather than going to any one of these and you lose the cards. You don't get the win Digivolving, obviously. So it's good in those situations where you just want to evolve, but you don't want to waste an effect. Or what's kind of cool is because he has Vortex. If you have the right setup with the Shotos, you could just slam him, swing with the Vortex, use the Shotos, or swing into opponent for game. Doesn't really come up that often, but it can come up.
Yeah, I mean, I think interesting in the sense of I can see why this is a very U deck, right? Already we're seeing at your level 3s and your level 4s high DP buff, high aggression control capability with the suspensions and Vortex already with the level 4s too. So I think we're seeing a common theme here as we're not even to the level 5 yet.
The 3s and 4s for Zephaga already have the makings of a tier 1 deck.
Yeah.
3 and 4 level, it has the juice.
I think when you first sent me the list initially, I was so focused on the 5s and the 6s, but then the more I looked at it, the more I'm the deck really is built around the 3s and the 4s.
Yeah.
And utilizing them in the right way.
On paper, when you start what makes a tier 1 deck tier 1, you start at the ground up, and it has it. This deck doesn't need more 3s and 4s. It doesn't. It has the juice.
It has everything.
When we start going up the chain, you'll start seeing the kind of flaws here. But here is you can if you don't even have to run him, you can just go do 4 and 4 of this one and this one. You could, and I've thought about it, but I tested that and I just felt awful evoing into this one or literally any of them in back. It felt terrible. Whereas okay, I didn't waste anything. Is what he's here for. He's 6,000 naturally, which is pretty good. Yeah, and the security effect does come up sometimes. It's fine.
Sure.
Moving to the 5s. 4 of the EX-07 Grand Gale. He is one of the best cards in the deck. It frustrates people to no end when you just go, okay, I'm in my 5 now. You still have turn. He's now suspended. He's immune to Digimon effects at the end of your opponent's turn, and you just can't get rid of him. And so he's really sticky, and it's great. The inheritable is... I think, I haven't researched this, but I think the Zephaga line has the only level 5s in the game that's the unsuspend is a you may, where you do not have to do it. And I think that's really, really interesting. Yeah, because it comes up because when you Vortex, this would be a mandatory trigger with and then so you would lose it if you then you have the Shoto. Again, we'll go into this. But
yeah.
It has to be. It has to be a Yume to work.
Right.
And I don't know if there's other ones that are like that, but it's something I noticed pretty quickly that it's a Yume, and it's really cool. But this is the best Grand Gale. This card's really awesome. You don't it has Vortex naturally, so again, you can do the same thing with this Galmon as you want. You can just slam it for 7 and then use the Shoto. It could, like, you shouldn't unless you know you've won the game, but like you could. And then when Digivolving to suspend something, doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be your opponent. It could be something. Usually, in almost all cases, you do himself. To become vulnerable to Digimon effects. Awesome card. Next is 2 of the Star Deck Grand Gale. This card sucks. Like, honestly, this card's not good. First problem, no Vortex. Does not have Vortex. Really, really causes issues. And then on Digivolving, suspend something. Again, anything. But if you spend one of your own guys, play a little bird. It's 3,000 DP or less bird. Yeah, 3,000 less bird, and this deck doesn't really need to do that. Like, it's nice to have the extra body, but this deck doesn't go wide, really. Like
it doesn't really help your game plan at all.
No, it could. Like, we'll go into certain situations where that does matter, but it almost always doesn't. And he's really only in the deck now. I played Rapidmon over him for a while, but I just got really tired of the 4-cost Evo and not being able to be searched. It just kind of kept feeling bad. So he's in here because he is a level 5 bird who is a Liberator. This is the main thing with the deck. I think the deck is another level 5 away from being truly menacing. This is the last piece. I think it's something that replaces him. And you can run like 8/5s, and they're all fantastic. This guy sucks, but he is searchable, and he does have the same inheritable as him. You may unsuspend, so that's good. But other than that, he's just not a good card. Thankfully, his when Digivolving is also an on play, but why are you slamming a 7 without Vortex? So,
right.
Yeah, bad. And last level 5 is an Argomon because I can, and it's green, and this deck cares a lot about memory. And the one attacking you can spam the birds, and they're suspended. So you can then like combo it with this one. You play that one out, and then he's suspended already. And because you're going to be suspended because you just evolved the Argomon, or you attacked, and then you combo it with this one. You now have at least one thing suspended that's not himself, and then you're counting your opponents. You're at least reducing Evo by 2 cost already, so you can combo a second stack pretty quickly. Build up another line. Yeah, super
sneaky boy.
Yeah, and free Evo is nice. Like 3 Evo at level 5 is really cool. The card's limited to 1 per reason.
Sure.
Okay, level 6. This is where this gets like really interesting. So let's just go through what I have right now. 3 starter deck Zephagas.
Busted card.
1 EX-07 Zephaga. 2 medieval. 1 dino.
Nice.
So I will say this is really, like, I think just like the bare bones generic version. Like my locals plays a ton of Gallant. Elder Star's going to play a ton of Gallant, and so next week when I go, I'm going to take out one of these for a second one of these. If your store does not play a lot of Gallants, I would keep it exactly at this. We can go through this one by one, but I think this card is pretty bad. This one, but he does do work against Gallant. So let's just do this from top down. Dino is cool because he is a Liberator, so he's searchable. He messes with hybrid decks. This deck kind of suffers against hybrids because he can't really do anything, and then they blow themselves up and they get rid of themselves. You can't really suspend them. There's nothing floating around for them to deal with. But at least Dino's like pseudo floodgate, I guess, where it has to attack into the body, and they're not gonna do that. So they have to find other ways to get around Dino, and even if they do, I have the Fortitude to come back and then pop their thing. So Dino's really good against all hybrid matchups. He's also just, like, again, good against Gallant because you just get rid of the thing because you're passing the memory. Dino's a really good card, and I recommend running at least one of them in this deck because it's searchable. It is green, security attack +1 and fortitude, and the when digivolving to pop something. This card is really good. This card
it's
really
just
good.
generically a really, really good top end.
Yeah, and this deck can search it, so cool. We can talk about medieval. I guess everyone knows this card's ridiculous, but this is the archetype it was made for, and so it initiates it to an even more gross degree.
Yep.
Because I'm searchable because I'm a Vortex Warrior. This is crazy. So we're gonna go through some like actually we'll do the combos after we go through them. But this card is crazy because I'm digivolving to it usually instead of slamming it.
Right.
It's when digivolving basically twice per turn. It's really 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 nuts. I'm gonna put these with the Mucha mods because that's what really what I want.
That he also evos for 3 is crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's insane. This guy. So I don't like 4-cost evos in almost all decks. That's just kind of the first thing I don't like. He does have Vortex. So again, hey, if you're at whatever memory and you need a body to swing for game, slam him for 12. Doesn't matter. But your deck +1 Vortex. When digivolving, when attacking, these are not once per turn. Suspend something. If you suspended one of your guys, bottom deck your opponent's suspended Digimon. So what's going to end up happening most of the time is you're going to evolve into him. You're going to pass turn because it's 4-cost evo. You're going to suspend their thing. Cool. You're going to swing at the thing with Vortex. You're going to tap the Shoto to give it piercing, unsuspend. And see, this is where now this matters because you've now unsuspended off the Shoto, but because this is a Yume, you still have that active. You didn't miss anything on that. And so your choice is now, you have piercing deck +1. And you're faced with a choice. You can either not activate Twin Digivolving now because you're attacking, or you can just let it pierce through. What you probably should do is do the when attacking, suspend yourself again to bottom deck the thing you're attacking, and then use the Grand Gale to whip yourself back up. But now your attack target's gone, and you're not doing any piercing, you're not checking anything, you're not getting any memory. So it's really good at getting rid of big immune bodies. But for a card with deck +1, it's kind of surprisingly defensive. It can cause pressure if you get out early enough and you're just checking normally security with it for 2 checks. But like for a card that says security deck +1 and has someone attacking that's not once per turn, it's very strange, and it can't whip turn back on it. It does get better when they have 2 or more bodies. If there's 2 bodies out, you can then we'll just grab, I don't know, we'll just use these 2 cards, whatever. Say they have 2 guys, you go into it, suspend 1. You then go swing at the one that's suspended. You're going to use its effect to you're going to use the Shoto to come back up. And now you have another choice where you haven't used its when attacking yet. So you can use the when attacking to suspend the other one, whip turn back off killing this one, do piercing 2 checks, and then do piercing 2 checks into this one again. Or you can suspend itself, bottom deck that one, bottom deck the other one, come back up, and then you just kind of, you don't get to kill the thing. It's complicated.
Sure.
So if single stack decks that kind of Gallant is really the main thing here. This card's really good. I'm gonna put a second one in, but against everything else that's not single stack, it's really really suffers because it wants to get rid of the thing it's vortexing into, which defeats the purpose of the vortex. Yeah, he's a complicated card. He's going to be replaced when the ace comes out. The ace is just a million times better than this card, so yeah, that's what's up with him. But yeah, if you have a lot of Gallants at your locals, play 2. It's good against Gallant, very good against Gallant. Then the Star Deck one, which I think is the better one. This card is pretty much good into all matchups. It's super hyper aggressive, and it's also can be defensive if you need it to be. Vortex, so again, you can slam it for 11 if you really need to. When digivolving, suspend something and then unsuspend something. So you're going to suspend your opponent. What I like to do is I have the Grand Gale with at least 1 plus 2k in there. So he's at least 9k. I can get up to 11, but I'm going to swing the 9k. It's in this format, it's probably going to live 9k. It lives. Cool. Go into Zephaga, suspend the guy, unsuspend me. It doesn't matter if you keep turn or not. It's a 3-cost Evo. You have Vortex. You swing. He gets plus 3,000. He's unaffected. He's already going to be unaffected because of the Grand Gale. But he's now double unaffected. Ben, what are you going to do about that? And then you swing. You pierce Vortex. Come back up. You do it again into Security or into a different guy. And then, or what you could do is leave the body alone, depending on the matchup and thinking what your opponent has in hand. The opponent will unsuspend on their turn. He's immune again. Which again doesn't matter if you already have the Grand Gale, but if he's been around for one turn already and he's lost the Grand Gale protection, it's something to keep in mind.
Sure.
So
I see what you're saying.
It allows you, because if you want to like play, I guess, Magnamon, right? You can just leave whatever Searcher rookie they left out, just leave it alone, and then they unsuspend. You're good. You know your stack's going to be unless they play an option, and then you can react again to how they're going about it. This deck is like a hyper aggressive reactionary deck. It's really like Gallantmon. It wants to kill the thing that's out. It's like a green Gallantmon or like the original version of Jessmon with Jess GX attacking unsuspended things. Like it's a reactionary to big stack decks. So I think he's the best one. Normally, I'll leave him at 3, 1, 2, 1 with the dinos and the medievals. But if you're gonna have a lot of Gallants playing around, 2, 2 will work. Yeah, but at the end of the day, like this guy's coming out for the ace, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
we're like a month away from the ace, or less than a month. That's it for the Digimon. You could play Paladin and stuff.
I was just about to ask about Paladin.
Yeah, you could absolutely, but it's kind of a know your meta thing. Not much crazy purpleness at Dojo and Good Games right now, so don't really feel the need for Paladin, but you absolutely can. Or you can play like Mega Gargo as another level 6 ace. Saber Leo is a cool ace too. I used to play in this. You could a lot of 6 flexibility, which is another strong part of the deck. People have been testing like Leopardmon as a way to turbo up and use it for more. This deck can go a million different places, but I think this version is currently the way to go. Tamers. 4 good Shoto, 2 okay Shoto. There's also the promo one. That one's worse than both of these. And then we're getting another one next set that's interesting. I don't know how interesting because it's kind of like an in-archetype scramble, but I don't know if that's better than just like normal scramble. So I'll test with it. But right now, my current drafts don't have it, but I might squeeze in one. We'll see. I'll test it. But this one is the one everyone knows that people think might get hit in the ban list. If this card gets in the ban list, this deck is dead in the water immediately. Like absolutely immediately.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to do it because this deck, this is a protagonist deck that they're pushing really hard, and this is the lifeblood of the deck. This lets everything happen. So of course, start of main phase, they have Digimon gain a memory. End of turn, suspend the Tamer, give a guy piercing blocker, and if he's a Vortex Warrior, unsuspend. That triggers multi attacks, allows piercing. It makes everything happen. Otherwise, you're not doing damage and not unsuspending off the Vortex, and it's kind of just really mid. So 4, you cannot play less than this card. He is like the normal one's like $5 now, which is really not fun. But at the end of the day, you need 4 of this card. Otherwise, the deck doesn't work. The other one is from the starter deck. It's Memory Setter, and then you can suspend it when one of your Digimon attacks. You can redirect it to a different Digimon, which you're never going to do. It doesn't really make sense. Or to the player. So you can like get around, like if my opponent has a Dinomon out suspended and I have to attack Dinomon, I can use this to redirect it to security. Or like with the Vortex, like I was saying earlier, if they have a suspended thing out, you slam whatever for 7, Vortex, swing into suspended body, doesn't matter what it is with it, and then make it go to opponent for game. That doesn't happen too much, both because I run it too, and because it's a forecast memory setter that you don't really want to play most of the time. But it does happen sometimes. It's cool, and having memory setter is good. I think that this guy's just going to stick it too.
Sure.
Okay, options. 3 trainings, 2 scrambles, 2 boosts, and the in-archetype removal. Training is good. You could mess around with the ratios here because you have the reducers already in the deck, so you don't really need training, but like it feels really good to train to the 5, even if you have like the wrong stack, and then because you want to pass turn at as few negative as you can to make sure the Vortex whips back to your turn. So I like to memory manipulate with this more than I do this because this costs 3 and it's a guaranteed 2. It's just I can do the math, I think, better with the training than I can the boost. But if you want to do 3, 2, whatever, these are all it's just player preference. I think this is good.
Sure.
Let me ask you, sir, which memory boost is max rarity here? Because I have the old ones. I got the old ones. The starter deck came with Patero on it, but it's just a common. It's not shiny, but it's in archetype. But then there's also like but then there's the gift box ones that are like fully textured, and then there's like the ones with like the gray background. I think are kind of cool. What do you think? Which memory boost should
I don't know, brother. I've always been a sucker for in archetype, so I'm currently rocking the one from the starter deck. It makes me sad that they're not foiled, but I mean, the
Like
Taro just looks so
he's
good.
on there.
He's on
He's on
there.
there. Yeah.
And now you're gonna get a Alt-Art Scramble too in the new starter deck.
True.
So
we haven't seen it yet.
we have not
seen
seen
it
it yet,
yet.
but I'm betting Terramon's got to be on there.
Yeah, he's got to be on there. Scramble's really good in this deck because they see the body. It says, oh, it's unaffected, and keep coming back, and they get rid of it as fast as they can in whatever way. So you constantly lose Zephaga, and then you just go, okay, Zephaga back on top of the deck, play Searcher for Tarot, get my guy back, draw another card. This card's really, really good in this deck. This card's really, really good in this deck. Even without, you can also use it as a pseudo, like for the Evo thing, you can go into the 5 with it. It's really good, or into Zephaga with it. Like this card's really good. This is why I confuse it with the Tamer, because like in archetype Scramble's cool, but like the normal Scramble's really good. So I don't know. One of these, I think I'd run more of these. I could. This card's really cool. This card's really, really cool. So, to the point where I did consider it for a little bit for Imperial and Nats, because this card's really cool.
Let's talk about it.
5 cost, main, suspend 1 Digimon. It is effect suspended your Digimon. Return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. Then unsuspend 1 Digimon. So because you have suspension at every single level of this deck, suspending your opponent's thing is not going to be an issue. And then there's like no cost. Like suspend your thing to unsuspend it. That's not really a cost. Who cares?
Right.
So you're getting a on demand free bottom deck at 5 cost, and then you want the pass turn anyways because Vortex. So it's gonna trigger the effects if there's a body left over too for you to Vortex into, and then the security effect of return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. This card's just cool, and it's Liberator, so it's searchable.
Yeah. And just having like big like not removal but like option cards like security bombs is probably very important in this meta now anyway. So having something that does that, probably a good choice.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on HPD? Because I know you were flirting with that before, like in the initial build maybe.
Yeah, I just think from like my Imperial days that's like HPD is not that good anymore. There's so many different cards I'd rather draw HPD. It's like it's gotten to the point where okay, you can never take it off the ban list. Like you just can't. But it feels win more when I have all these reducers already, and I have the trainings and the boosts, and I kind of want to be suspended sometimes, and I kind of don't. Like it just messes with timing and things. Like you can run it, like absolutely. Like like and the servers that I'm in, people are like, "Why no HPD?" And it's like I just don't like it, man. Like I just don't like it. Having like think about, oh, if I draw HPD here, I'm golden. Like I'd rather just rely on like having not a limited card. I know I play Argomon, but like Argomon, I draw it. It's like, oh, cool, I have Argomon. I don't depend on Argomon. Yeah. So that's why no HPD. Because I don't really like 1-ups, and it's so explosive, but also kind of it's a weird card. You can never take off the ban list. Like it cause issues, but I just don't. I don't like it. Let's talk a little bit about Medieval. Yeah. Let's talk about Medieval. Let's talk about Muchamon because they're cool. Let's say
Mucho cool.
Well, my dream stack when I promote is doesn't matter which one. Of course, you'd rather promote him. So let's say him. And then let's say him because that's probably the ideal thing. And then let's say the good Grand Gale. Yeah. So where is it? They're cool. Let's say your opponent has a Digimon. Let's actually we can go through this first. You promote, you go here for 1, you suspend your opponent's Digimon, you're now evolving again for 2. You go here, you assume you had 3 as a standard thing. So evolving, now you're at 2, now you're at 0, suspend him, he's immune. Your opponent's Digimon's already suspended from the Galemon. Go into Medieval, and you kill the thing. And then you unsuspend, do all this stuff. Great. He's unaffected, so he's probably going to be around the next turn unless your opponent has an option, because if they don't get rid of this Medieval, they know they're cooked. But in the off chance that they don't, which is it's not a lot of decks play multiple versions of kill spells. Like there's not and you're not checking security the first time with Medieval, most likely. So he's probably staying around at least 1 turn. Next turn you come out, you're gonna play Muchamon. You're just gonna play him. You just
play the guy.
But Medieval is going to trigger here because you've played a Digimon. You have a choice here to suspend your opponent's Digimon, which they do not have because you killed it and with Medieval. Or you're going to suspend nothing here because there's no reason to. You're going to save that effect in case something happens with security. There's no reason to. But when Muchamon gets suspended by an effect, one of your Digimon with Vortex Warriors, Bird gets plus 3,000. He has Alliance. So you're going to do that. 11, 12, plus 3, 15, 17. Nothing security stop in 17. So you've now made your Medieval Gallimon an aggressive tool as well as a defensive one because you can now swing 17 2-checks. That's why I play Muchamon, because it's going to trigger this, and Alliance suspends him. He's really cool. Big fan of that. And then if there's a guy out, if your opponent played a guy last turn, depending on what the guy is, you can just let them have the guy to start with your suspended stuff to vortexing and then giving piercing, and you can just probably kill off of them playing a guy and not killing it. So depending on the situation, you don't even have to trigger Medieval.
Right.
And for this deck as a whole, your ideal stack is, where's a Fluffy? Give me a Fluffy. You want 1 plus 2,000. You want 1 memory gain. It does not matter which one it comes from. It doesn't matter. But you have 1 from here. You have 1 from here, and you have plus 2,000. So all your guys are going to be at least 13 naturally, which gets over most 6s and gets over most security. So that's big. You can have, like, if you make this the other Galmon, you're now getting free memory from the stack, which is awesome. That's spectacular. But now you're running the risk of the piercing killing you.
Right.
And if you're counting the memory correctly, you should be able to lead them at -1 or -2 and get back to 0 or 1, and not need that extra 1.
Right.
So ideally, you want a +2, a memory, and that gives you another memory is ideal. Or if you like really need like the power, like sometimes like it's come up against Gallant. It's very rare because I usually get bigger, but you can go full power stack, and then get a Zephaga. So he gets plus 3,000 when he unsuspends, getting the 14, 16, 18. 18
you wanted to put the other tarot in there, right?
I put $2,000. Yeah, whatever. There you go. Yeah,
I got you.
Thanks. That's 18 stack right here.
Yeah.
That's going to get over almost everything in the game. The Gallants can be above 20, which is why I recommend the other Zephaga, because you don't have to worry about the power then.
Sure.
But if there's a weird Gallant stack or anything else in the meta, 18's running it over. So you could, but you're only getting 1 memory back. So you gotta kind of have to be careful about how you do the memory manipulation then. But you could, absolutely could. The other combo is, it doesn't come up because the cards are bad, but it's with the old one.
Yeah.
And this one. So you suspend the guy. Let's play Muchamon because I like Muchamon. So you get the guy out. He's suspended now. You have him out now. You go into this Zephaga. He does not unsuspend himself naturally. So you have to suspend something. You'll suspend your opponent's guy. You're gonna have a Shoto here because if you don't have a Shoto already, you're just gonna lose the game.
Yeah.
So you give me a Shoto. You whip the Shoto. Comes back up. Swing at the body. You can then, depending on how many bodies they have, and if you have this one. So let's say there's just one. The way you'd go about this is you're first going to trigger. You've already triggered this. So he has piercings and he's attacking. When attacking, you're going to first use the Grand Gal to unsuspend. You're then going to use the Shoto to redirect the attack to your opponent for 2 checks. You're then going to use the Muchomon, his effect, to suspend the Muchomon, giving him another +3, and then bottom decking the guy you're attacking. So the attack won't fizzle, because the attack won't fizzle because you've now you've changed where it's going.
Yeah, you've changed it.
And you've saved that attack. So now you're doing, in this stack specifically, 12, 15, 17, 19, 2 checks.
Not bad.
That's not bad. It's not ideal because you have to get a lot of setup. This card I play 2 of, and this card I play 2 of, and this card I currently play 1 of. So yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's also very interesting that you've pointed out earlier, right, where a lot of folks are now hard playing Medieval Gallant, but you're actually utilizing the in-archetype line to just go straight into a Medieval Gallant for 3 costs and doing a lot of things. And another important thing to point out too, what you said was it is a you may activate. So a lot of people are like, oh, they played a Digimon out, bam, use the effect and go crazy. You can choose to save it. You know, I think what you're doing here is a really nice, like, toolboxy way of, like, calculating your plays out and utilizing
Yeah,
the tools that you have to, like, really kind of like go for the like kill, right?
yeah,
And you're utilizing each piece in its own specific manner to get to where you need to be, which is really cool to see. Really, really cool.
yeah. Like you have to know your matchup here because
Yeah.
let's keep using Gallant because we talk a lot about Gallant in this video. Your opponent ends turn playing Search or Guillemon. They search. You could blow it up. You could blow it up, but you know that Guillemon's not going to harm you on your turn. They're not. They can't blast into whatever with a Guillemon.
Right.
It doesn't
Right.
matter. So you're better off just saying, okay, there it is, and you can use it for Vortex plays.
Mhm.
But if they're slamming like a level 5 and they're like, okay, this is obviously ace bait. All right, medieval kill it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's just about knowing what you have in your hand and stuff. Yeah. Or like this guy just completely shits on Imperial, and someone would know is me. Like this guy just completely kills every single partition deck.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna kill the level 5 or the 6, whatever, and then they're gonna spit out the 2 bodies, and then they just played a guy. So the all turns will trigger, and you'll kill that body too, and you'll suspend one and then kill the other, and then use this vortex into the other one.
Hmm.
It completely disintegrates every single partition deck,
Yeah.
and it's cool. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other combos here that I wanted to show off because this deck really is reactionary to how your opponent plays, but it's aggressive in doing so. It's a green deck that wants to dwindle your life as fast as possible, but
It,
needs your opponent to play a guy.
I was about to. So yeah, that segues actually into a question I had for you. Was you mentioned purple hybrid being a little bit of a more difficult matchup because
Yeah,
they don't really float that body out there, right?
yeah.
And I think you alluded to like Dino being a really good tech choice for that because they just have to like punch against the wall. What else do you feel like if like you're running one of Dino, you don't see the Dino, like what else is the game plan? Just go faster, use your Shotos to redirect, like what are you doing there?
Well, this isn't going to be an advantage forever because people are going to start catching on, especially with this
Sure.
video. But like people see in the inheritables that gain memory, so purple hybrid players like to play Ghazi against this, and it's just like,
Right. Oh yeah.
thank,
Yeah, yeah.
thanks,
That's bait.
buddy,
Yeah, thank
thank you,
you.
thank you. So that's something you can take advantage for sure. They play and the Ukos too. You take advantage of the Ukos. They promote the Ukomon. They literally just gave you free food. Is what just happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Nice search, buddy. Here's a vortex piercing for 2 checks.
Right.
And I just played my Tamer for free and have fun. And I'm unaffected. Nice, good try turning me into red or whatever color you want. It's not going to work. So you take advantage of the Ukos. They play Ghazi. You take advantage of that. You just the little things like you can't do anything about the Duskmon and the Velgamon because they're going to be gone. Unless you have the Dino, they're not going to swing into the Dino, and you can make the Dino unaffected too with the Grand Gale.
Right. Right.
And then, or if you set up the a Zephaga who's unsuspended and the blocker, they're probably not going to do that too because you're unaffected if they have retail. It doesn't really matter. So it's about setting up some blockers. It's hard.
Sure.
I'm not going to lie
Sure.
to you. It's hard. But Dino really helps. And then
Probably
the
just
Stardust
seizing your
Saga.
opportunity when you see it. Probably,
Yeah,
right?
like punish the player. Like this is a cool deck because you can punish Ukomon. I don't know how many decks can actually punish Ukomon, but this is definitely one of them. And so you punish the little rookies, the little things that they thought are going to help further their game plan is actually going to help you further your game plan of
Right.
trying to take down
Right.
security as fast as possible. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is really cool. Thanks for showing us this. I mean, I think when you think of toolboxy decks, you kind of think of decks that don't like do a whole lot of damage, but do a whole lot of like neat like control or like techie things. But I think you've combined like the toolboxy stuff with aggression, which is super cool.
Yeah. And it's not like your Galaxy, right? Like this is all like these are Liberator cards,
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
isn't like me jamming Hexablow and Imperial. This is like I am playing Zephagamon and Dinomon, and those are Liberators I can actively search using my main line. So it's actually there's so many 6s you can play in this deck because the way it turbos up to there.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think the Zephagas and stuff is the best path forward,
For
and
sure.
that ace is going to be so
That
ridiculous.
ace is so good. So
It
good.
doesn't even need Shoto. It has everything Shoto will give you by itself. Shoto just gives it another unsuspend. So like it's crazy. Like you can get
Well,
like
it's sort of like you said, right? Where the deck kind of like lives and dies off of Shoto right now. Like the ace
yeah,
at least makes it a little bit less. It's still
yeah,
really important, but like you don't need it as much.
right. Like you're getting one normal swing before turn ends usually. So 14 swing, whip it back up, swinging into the a body, whip it back up, take turn back. There's third swing, all of one body. That means that on your second stack, you probably have lethal on it, because you've done three checks the first time already. So again, hyper aggressive. But if you need to switch gears, you have medieval, and you have dino, and you have the other Zephaga to do bottom decking stuff. It just adapts what your opponent throws at you, and there's harder matchups, and it's really pilot oriented, as you said. It's unbelievably complicated for a starter deck. But if you practice it enough and understand the cards enough, you can do it. It's a green deck that's only green because Pteromon's green. It plays more like red, but it's a cool deck. It's really cool. It gives me the unsuspended dopamine. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for hopping on and giving us this profile. For those of you who don't know, check out Josh's Twitch and channel, Umblumb. I will link it in the video description. We've got the little header up there with his logo too, so check him out. And yeah, just drop any questions for the man himself in the comment section down below.
I know Ben and I talked about it earlier, but we plan on a part 2 a little bit after the set drop, so I can test the ace and stuff and get proper ratios, because I'm into this deck for the long haul. I really enjoy this deck, and as a protagonist deck,
I think for good reason.
It's not stopping. Yeah, I think it's really good. I just think a lot of players are going to stray away from it because how complicated they seem. Like at Dojo last week, there was a new player, like brand new player, first event, and they got the starter deck, and like they asked me how to play the deck, and I start like showing them, and like they don't get it because they're brand new, and Vortex, it's all complicated. End of turn, like, I don't know how the phases work. It's tough. It's really tough. But if you like this silly bird enough, and you like Zephaga, who looks like Elemental Hero Avian enough, you can get into it. It's really cool. And again, I'm always available to answer questions in the comments here. You can find me at my channel. You can find me on my Twitch. You can find me. I'm in so many goddamn servers. You can find me anywhere. I'm always open. I'm always open to ask questions.
And you're in our server too, so just ping us, and we'll point you in the right direction too.
Yep, I think that's it for me. But hey, again, I'm always available. Always.
Sounds good. Love you, buddy. Thanks for hopping on again, and we'll catch you on the next video, everybody. Bye bye.
Yep, thanks, guys.